Hey there, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another So production. We're doing it on Sunday, July the 16th, 2023. Sips up to the gang. I hope you're all doing well. Where can you find these videos? Moving forward for the time being, every Sunday on Instagram, on YouTube, on patreon.com/robsadria. Of course, if you'd like to fiscally support this show. And they're dropped on a weekly basis. Ladies and gents, if you're like me, you just recently showered with a dick pump. So shout out to you guys and gals out there showering with dick pumps. The old penile pumps. You know what I'm saying? Wait, let me rephrase that, because it doesn't sound as good as I'd like it to sound. I showered with a dick pump, but it wasn't my own dick pump, which is better. Because you know what? Let's just get into it. Because that's what we're doing, baby. The most real podcast here, the most real, man. Behind me right now, we're at Lakeshore Waterfront here in Oakville right now. Oakville. In the GTA, it's on the west side of Toronto, if you will. Yeah, a lot of people like to, get pods, and they might pay for facilities that will seem like, oh man, this is so schmance. There's literally millions of dollars worth of boats behind me. You're like, show us. I don't want to. Not gonna, but I've spent millions of dollars all around. This is how real we get, baby. That's how we do it. So, and yeah, I'll do anything for you guys and gals here. I've already gone ahead and I've sacrificed a whole bunch of babies just to maintain this mustache right here. That's how real I'll keep it. You know what I mean? Because these, they don't maintain themselves, these mustaches right here. You got to go out there and fucking blend a couple of babies in a blender and just feed it to the mustache gods, so that they maintain a steady level of happiness, if you will. Nonetheless, man, we are doing it on July the 16th. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I just recently showered with a dick pump. Thank you very much. Not my own. I didn't even know it was a dick pump. I came to realize that a lot is happening, as you could imagine. A lot is happening. If you've been a long time viewer and listener of the show, thank you very much for tuning in. If it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down, as per usual. It's a fun, bumpy little ride that we're going on together. When you're out there doing the life of a aspiring stand-up comedian, life will throw you into the deep end sometimes, and you might not end up showering at your own place. Every once in a while you might end up showering at a different place, and you don't know. And everybody's nice enough, everybody's friendly, everybody's, I'm very grateful for everything. But sometimes you might step into a shower not realizing you're showering with a dick pump, only to later find out that you've just showered with a beautiful friend's dick pump. But, I've seen them on the onlines, I've seen them on the televisions. Not frequently, but I've seen, you know what I mean? I've lived enough to have seen a couple of dick pumps in my lifetime, but never have I seen one in real. I didn't even realize I'm showering with a dick pump. That's, you walk into a shower, you see, a shampoo bottle here, a conditioner there, a loofah there, a douche here, a douche there. Dick pump. I didn't even realize it was a dick pump. It didn't even register. It looked like an empty cylinder sitting on. I just thought it was a fancy cup for drinking water, to be honest with you. I thought it was a fancy cup for getting hydrated. Did I drink from it? Yes. No. Yes. Maybe. Keeping it real, no. But yes. Could I have easily drank from the old penile pump, thinking it's why not? Because it's cylindrical. It can be filled up with liquids. Water's available in the showers. Why not? But yeah, man, I didn't know, and it's nice, dude. But this is the podcast for, I wanna, you know, a lot of times people make podcasts shows, and I want you guys out there to support everybody, whoever you like, because I'm, you know, I wouldn't, I've got a lot of appreciation for comedians, for podcasters out there, you know, telling stories. It gets me through my days sometimes, and we all like, oh man, we're all in it together. So it's, but like, you know, some people, you know, have certain certain demographics that they'll appeal to, or they'll like, that's my audience. And you're like, what, you know, how do we, I go by dick size and clit size. If you are a average dick or clit size person, this is for you. If your labia is a reg, this is for you. If you're between that 5 to 7 inches, this is for you. So this is how we do it, baby. But that's just life, man. 1 minute you're comfortable showering in your own shower, and next thing you know, life throws you little curveballs here and there, and you know, taking a sip from a dick pump. Not judging, not at all. It's actually, I like a fella or a lady who uses dick pump. If you use a pump for your vag, I admire that. If you use a pump for your, I admire that. Because you're not, it tells me something about your personality. You're not greedy. You're not greedy out there. Because dick pumps and vag pumps, they're like, they're in the moment. They're not looking to the past. They're not looking to the future. Oh, how can I get to a certain place and make, no, it's all about the right now. I like that. It's very much so in the present moment. Get whatever you want out of it. Be done with it. You know, out there, go get it. Whatever it is that you're getting after. So I admire it. I look up to people in different ways, shapes, and forms. And we're doing it together, baby. We're all in it together. Today we're going to be discussing a whole array of topics, and going to be going through a bunch of different stories. First, I'd like to say that I've been, you know, like many of you guys and gals out there, you know, I put in the hours, baby. We're putting in the hours. 50 plus hours a week. Do this, that, the other. Just to, you know what I mean? So I get it out there. If you are out there hustling and grinding, if you're the type that knows the value of a doll hair, I commend you. I appreciate you, whatever it is that you're doing, and we're all in it together. We're doing it. And I've seen a whole bunch of people in my lifetime. I continue to see a whole bunch of people in my life. I'm basically, if it's your first time tuning in, because if you've been with me, you know what I do on the DL just to keep, you know, just to keep the bills afloat, if you will. I'm that male doula, if you will. I does the human trafficking in a sense that I deliver peoples from A to B. I'm very much like, if you, let me ask you this. Do you like Robert De Niro? Did you watch the movie Taxi Driver? Very much the same. Like, it's literally the same. You're like, you give rides to, you know, questionable characters, and, you know, are there prostitutes in the streets? More or less, give or take, yes. You know what I'm saying? It's that's what I does. That's what I does to pay the bills. And I meet a lot of cats. I meet a lot of felines, if you will. And interesting people get in this car, man. Every once in a while, you'll get an interesting person. Everybody's interesting, but sometimes people share, sometimes people don't share. But we're going to go through a story today, one in particular. And just to maintain everybody's anonymity, we're going to go ahead and call this fella, because I don't want to give names away. Because, oh, like, oh my God, not my name. I didn't know this guy's a aspiring stand-up comedian and a podcast. I didn't know if I shares the stories, it's gonna be on the lines, and the whole, like, there's gonna be 8 billion people tuning in, eagerly waiting on a weekly basis, because it's like crack at this point. You're all addicted. You're like, oh my God, I can't. So that's what it is, baby. But it's out there. You put it in my ear, comes into my brain, goes into my mouth, and out my mouth and into the world, and then next thing you know, your story's going viral. Next thing you know, there's about, like, ranging anywhere between like 3.5 people to 12 people at least on a weekly basis talking about this shit right here, son. So, having said that, this particular story is about Jay. Let's call this fella Jay, because I don't want to give his entire name. Well, let's just call him Jay for for this particular moment in time, we're going with Jay. Jay's a good man. He seems like a good man. He seemed like a good guy. But he had recently got kicked out of his house. His wife kicked him out of the house. He was stressed out. Asked me to wait a few minutes if he can, light a cigarette because he's packing his stuff, getting his bags ready, putting it in the car. Jay's stressed out. He's like, bro, I'll make it up to you. I'll give you an extra whatevs, but just like hang on for a second. My wife, the old lady's kicked me out. Stressing, just fucking like, just give me a second here. I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. Not been there, not done that, but relatable. Relatable. Aren't we all just traveling with our bags these days or something? You know what I mean? So gets in the car. I'm like, people want to share, people share. People don't want to share, you don't need to share. But people sometimes share, and I thank them for it. Jay got kicked out of his house due to, you're like, what was it? What was it? We'll get into it. Due to a flat tire. That's right, due to a flat tire on the, I guess, mutually shared vehicle between Jay and his wife. That was the last straw on the camel's back. Flat tire. But that's all he said. Wife kicked him out, and I'm like, man, I hope this works out for you guys. Yeah, come on, flat tire here or there. I hope you guys. Well, he's like, no, this is it. I'm like, oh, geez. In my head, I'm like, man, this is no bueno for Jay and his. But at the same rate, like he didn't give me any more details. Then he was like, he was stressed. He wasn't talking much, but he did reveal that much. So the relationship and marriage broke up because of a flat tire. Let's just call the wife Stacy, just to keep things, afloat, just to keep things easy. Stacy's a down bitch from where I'm standing. Stacy's that fucking, she's cool with everything, in sickness and in health. With a slight stipulation, of course, slid in there. In sickness and in health, unless otherwise we're facing a flat tire. Which at first glance might seem like a great idea. You're like, man, I found me a down bitch. She's cool with me if I go out with the boys in the evening. Have a couple of brewskis with the boys, hang out. You're acting, you're a little wild boy. You're a little wild boy. You like to get a little bit, a little drinky poo here with the boys. You stay out late, not return a couple of texts. She gets it. She's there for you. She's that down bitch. She gets it. She's supportive. Other scenarios she's cool with. You're at the local pub. Cocktail waitress comes over. You've had 7 or 8 shots. Get a little flirty with the cocktail waitress. Stacy's game. She gets it. She's there. She knows you. She trusts you. But everybody has lines, fam. Everybody's got those particular lines. And Stacy's line, flat tires. It's not anything else. Flat tires. Who knows what Stacy's psyche is comprised of? Who knows what Stacy's gone through her life? Maybe, just maybe, before judging Stacy and like being, oh man, women only care about like fully pumped tires. Stacy's a good woman. I'll tell you that much. What you might not know is that hypothetically, potentially, Stacy could have had a run-in with a gang of violent flat tires when she was a young woman. A young lady, if you will. Can you blame her? Maybe one day, Stacy was getting babysat by a little, handsy babysitter, if you will. And next thing you know, molested by a flat tire. Could be. Maybe one day Stacy was walking hand in hand with her mom and dad when she was a young gal, 6, 7 years old, in a back alley somewhere. They were just celebrating someone's birthday, going home in a back alley, and guess what? A gang of flat tires pops out and shanks both Stacy's mom and dad. Now she's an orphan baby crying. And she vowed to herself, never again will I ever be, I'm never going to put myself in a situation where a flat tire determines my life, where a flat tire tells me how to live my life, where a flat tire takes away my loved ones, where a flat tire takes away my livelihood, where a flat tire touches me in weird places. Never again. And she met Jay, and again, in sickness and in health, Jay, in sickness and in health, except with a teeny tiny stipulation, no flat tires. And Jay at the time thought to himself, this is a great deal. I can go without a flat tire. I've gone all my life without flat tires. Big J over here, no flat tires ever. Guess what you're doing out there, fam? Guess what you're doing out there? You know she's sensitive to flat tire. She's got flat tire. You might say she's flat tire phobic. You might draw some conclusions as to how she might not like flat tire, because she's made it clear to you, Jay. Now you go out and get a vehicle. What do? You put 4 wheels on that bitch. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 wheels on a car. You're just rolling the dice there, Jay. Rolling the dice. You're like, oh, I'm Jay. I'm cool. Never had a flat tire. Never gonna get a flat tire, not Jay. Maybe you got a little bit too comfortable with yourself. Maybe you got a little bit too cocky. You know what I'm saying? You're like, yeah, flat tire, and this never happened, never will. You risked your entire marriage over tires, fam. Where you could have, if you love somebody, if you truly love somebody, and you know they're allergic, their phobia is flat tires, what do? You have options. You can travel with what? Trains, airplanes, rickshaws. You can paraglide. You can zip line from A to B. Helicopters. Jetpacks are now a thing. Submarines are apparently really safe these days. Bicycles. Tricycles. Horses, animals, literally. Subways. I mean, see where I'm going with this? Ton of options, Jay. But you were so confident, despite the fact that Stacy don't like flat tires. You're like, no, I want to get this bitch a car with 4 tires. Sometimes we have no one to blame but ourselves. But also my heart goes out. I genuinely hope that they work it out. I hope that it's not the flat tire that broke the camel's back. But in this scenario, from the information that I was given, it was exactly that. A flat tire, ladies and gentlemen. A flat tire. Let's give this old neck a little crack right here. Oh, hells yes. Oh, hells yes. Ladies and gentlemen, but we're all doing it together, man. We're all doing it together. It takes a little bit, and some days are rough, man. When you see somebody having a rough day, you're like, man, I hope you have a good day today. I hope you have a good, and there might be your worst day. It might be your worst day, and you tell people, please, take it easy. And I've also been told that here and there in my life once, and I wasn't even in need of it, but it's one of those things where you're not in the mood, but somebody tells you to take it easy. Take it easy there, fella. Take it easy. Have a good day. Take it easy. And you're like, man, there's no way this day's gonna go well. And some people are like, man, well, what do I do? What do I do? Sometimes this is where I go back to sometimes where this is like, again, we're gonna be talking about a lot of different things. Sometimes you have to fake it. Sometimes you have to fake the funk. You have to fake the funk sometimes. It's underappreciated, underrated, doesn't get the attention and love that it deserves. Sometimes you've got to fake the funk, because we are living in a world filled with So much stuff on a daily basis. And we're, as at a point when you step into adulthood, you start getting into positions, this, that, you have a career, you have a job, you have a family, and there's going to be days where things are not going your way. But you can't just let that get to you and just going to be like, oh, I'm a surgeon today. I do open heart surgeries today. I just don't feel like it. Well, you better make sure you feel like it. At least fake it to the point where I feel like you feel good so you can do open heart surgery. Or a pilot. I don't feel so well today. Stayed up all night drinking a ton of, whiskey. Did a bunch of lines with the guys. I don't feel so good today. Grab a double espresso. A triple espresso. Tap it right into the veins, right? Get it in there. People are like, man, you gotta keep it real. Well, if the surgeon's just like, oh, I'm not good, oh, I'm just so, not in the mood today. Get in the mood. Get in the mood. There's no, you gotta work till like 3 a.m. in the morning. Fake it. I don't want you to come in there and be like, guys, today I'm not, just keeping it 100 with you guys. I don't know how this is gonna go today. Fake it to 100%, baby. Fake it to 100% so it goes well. But people are like, no, you gotta. I have a problem sometimes with quote unquote realness and fakeness. A lot of things in our lives are, a lot of things, reality is, of course, a lot of things are real. But a lot of our reality is not so real, and I don't even know if that makes any sense. A lot of things are seemingly real, if that makes sense. But there's always so much going on in the background. Individuals are so complex. Individuals are so nuanced. And sometimes I find it that people wanna, for easing all this that is going on, the fact that, again, we're floating on a little bubble, mid-air, spinning, surrounded by asteroids, rocks, giant rocks being hurled at us. We like to, as much as we can when it comes to interactions with people, we like to simplify it, put it in binaries, good, bad, black, white, which is why I love pro wrestling, because people know what it is. People know what it is, but it's easily digested, because you know exactly who the good guy is, you know exactly who the bad guy is, and there's, you know what I mean? I don't even know what I mean. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes, even if you're not feeling okay, even if you're in the worst circumstances, people are like, no, man, I like to keep it real. Because I've had many conversations with people. I'm a real cynic, they'll say. I'm a real cynic. And you see them throughout their life going through, telling themselves that they're that real cynic. I'm a real cynic, man. You know what I mean? And that becomes your mentality. That becomes hardwired into your brain. And every time something, you know what I mean? It's like, we're very malleable. Our brains are really malleable. We're programmable. You can easily override habits. You can easily override moods, settings. People sometimes, I deal with this, that. I've gone through a lot myself, but I don't sit there and be like, what is the realest thing that, so much has happened in my life that if I were to become like, sit there and be like, based on these particular events, I'm gonna, be a cynic or this, or put a label on myself. God. So people just say a lot of things because we want to register things easily. People want to be able to identify themselves and others. Again, good, bad, right, wrong, black, white, make it easily understandable so you can digest it. But a lot of situations, a lot of times, all of us are, we're dabbling in the nuance, baby. We're in that middle ground. We're in that gray area, if you will. And it's tricky. I'm not, I'm deep down inside, I know where my heart's at. But at the same rate, I know that this world, it's a beautiful world covered with butterflies, rainbows. Sometimes I'll see coyotes running down streets, which are like beautiful animals, nature, beautiful, wonderful people. But at the same rate, it has its hardships. Whether you just, you're going through schooling right now, you just graduate, you're just like trying to enter a workforce. You're like, man, how do I go from the comfort of, I guess, being in a sort of a bubble of education into like the quote unquote real world? And it's a bitch out there. Right now in June, we just had record breaking prices for rent. in the greater Toronto area. Rent is hella expensive. Cost of living is hella expensive. In order to make it out there in the real world, it's not an easy task. For most people, 99% of people, even 100% of people, I'd say. And it's not even about finance, but I'm just saying. So out there, sometimes it's going to require you to tap into things where you might not naturally feel like inclined to, but like, it's okay. It's better to sit there and like, oh, I'm gonna keep it real and be depressed about like, or you can like, fool yourself into whatever for a few minutes, for a few seconds, and then little by little, you'll feel better. At least that's how I find it for myself. Because if I were to sit there and like, if I were to like keep it what is considered quote unquote, what is even real? That's what it is. People like get caught up in, it's a nuanced conversation. I just find it, I find it funny that sometimes people, again, for the sake of making things simple and easy, again, tend to want to put themselves and each other in boxes. Well, I know this guy's not that guy. I know this lady's not that lady. This lady seemed like this particular lady in a particular set of events, but I've seen her in this other particular set of events, completely different lady. Not considering the fact that, people have different situations that they're dealing with all the time. But anyway, I don't even know what I'm saying, gang. I'm just glad to be here, be a part of your lives. Thank you for letting me be a part of yours. I genuinely hope that you do feel better, Jay. I hope that you get back with the old wife. I hope it wasn't over just a flat tire. And to the young man who's just, again, graduating and going into the workforce, but finding it a little bit challenging, right there with you. Don't worry about it. We'll get there together. Again, this is why I love listening to other people. This is why I love looking for, good folks are doing it in different ways. And it's time and again, I got to remind myself, be patient with yourself. Be patient with others. Love yourself, love other people. It's a marathon, they say, not a race. And that's true. Again, it's one of those things, but it's true. Life is not and all of us, and I say this right now, after having some time to like sit down, think, contemplate, and be like, what? It's all good. Everything is great. I love the fact that I'm being challenged in different ways right now. It's actually really neat. It is really neat to be challenged because, man, for sure, if you're just like stagnant in life and not going through different circumstances, not having gone through a little bit of ups and downs here and there, geez Louise, what a boring life that is. A little bit of challenge, sign me up. Been challenged since '89, baby, and we're doing it. What else is going on, man? What else did I want to talk to you guys and gals about today? In no particular order of events or anything like that. Camel Toe Harris just came on the lines, giving a speech or something, saying something along the lines that we got to invest in more green energy. We got to reduce populations so that our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water. And again, it's just one of those things where it might be a Freudian slip, or it might be dead ass. It might be dead. It might be just be like, oh, that's a Freudian slip, or it might be dead ass. And here's me just sitting on the outside, always looking inwards, or something. But I'm for it. I'm fully for it. Let's reduce the population. I'm actually for it, gang. I'd like to suggest that we start reducing the population. And you're like, who do we start? Which portion of the population do we start reducing? Politics and politicians, dude. I seriously think we can do way better with less politics and less politicians, because often it just seems like here's the solution brought to you by the people who cause the most problems in the world. So it's like, I'm for it. Let's reduce the population, less politics, less politicians, more people interacting together, more people having support for local teeny tiny businesses, each other, going out there, interacting, intermingling, supporting one another. Because yeah, man, I'm down with it. Let's start with reducing the population by lessening government sizes, just the teeniest. I want the tiniest, like, oh my god, what is this micro penis of a government? That's what I want. It's tiny, so tiny, but it's still good. Tiny, dude. Just something you can flick every once in a while and just right there. That's what I want my government to be like, you know, tiny. Because that's what it is with government. People are like, oh, the bigger it is, you'll hear ladies tell you, the bigger the government is not necessarily the better of the governments when it comes to sizes of governments. You'll hear ladies say that. It's not you want actually the tiniest form of government, like real fucking tiny the tiniest of clits, just a fucking little bean that you can barely even see, dude. You just need like proper lighting to see that shit. But I'm down with it. But at the same rate, I do see people being, you know, been talking to my friend, been talking to different people, and I'm just like trying to make sense of this world that we're all partaking in. And yeah, sometimes you're just like, man, why do houses cost so much? Why does rent cost so much? And a lot of times the people who are supposed to be getting their, you know, flowers or dues, they don't get it. And who's to... One is obviously the government, but there's also other aspects of it. There's other aspects that I'm not even familiar with, that I can't even prove in a very, you know, decisive way, at least as of yet. But there's, you know, if it's one of those things that doesn't get talked about, that I'm not even too informed about myself to be able to explain to you guys or get. It's just one of those things where, again, if you've lived long enough, you've seen a couple of things here and there. I like to say that people are just not being appreciative of the marriage, the convenient marriage between governments and, I guess for a lack of a better word or terminology, the mafia, the mob out there. Because, yeah, right now, thanks to this convenient marriage, and it's in all sectors of life that makes a ton of money. Construction's one of them. Property's one of them. Housing's one of them. Labor's one of them. And it goes deep. And I don't, again, have the knowledge or the even resources to be able to dig deep into it, but at one point or another you do start to wonder, why is it that particular group of individuals have been in particular positions for quite a bit of time, and overall quality of life for the majority of people seems to be reducing for the most, and yet increasing for a very tiny fraction of the population. But yeah, I don't want you to get it twisted. I love the mafia. I love the marriage between the mafia and the government in all sectors. Little tiny marriages, little large marriages here and there. Because yeah, like right now, if you want to rent a 1-bedroom apartment, it's like $2,000 in almost every location in the Greater Toronto area. If you want to purchase a home, well, good luck with that, because it's in the millions of dollars. And I just wonder why. And we have politicians getting in different levels, whether it's local or federal or provincial, and nothing for the average folks seems to be changing in a... I'm not trying to like paint a picture where it's like, no, a lot of things are great, but one of the biggest factors that seems to be having a huge impact on a lot of people, and now that I've been out on the streets doing my 50+ hours, man, oh man, have I seen a rise in homelessness. Jesus Christ, there's so many homeless people everywhere. It's crazy. One of the biggest things that contributes to that is the affordability of life. People are doing grocery shopping right now, I see it, but they're mostly investing in junk food rather than the meats and the potatoes. Why? Just the simple things. It doesn't take a brain neuroscience, surgeon, electrical engineer doing nuclei research to figure this shit out. It seems like there's some sort of funny business going on always in the background, and we're just always constantly being pulled and pushed between minor little issues, between this, that, and the other, and the real shit that actually helps all of us thrive in life, which is the mucho dinero. Unfortunately, or fortunately rather, it's the best thing that we've got apparently right now. It's so hard to come up with a different idea. But again, it seems to be we're just playing this game of Monopoly, and again, if you've played Monopoly, it always seems to funnel into one or a few particular pockets rather than actually, you know, be somewhat. And I'm not saying, you know, and it's hard to have these discussions again, because every time you start saying a little something that you're like, man, for the people, by the people, or some of the people should be, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, this sounds a little bit too, you know. I, by no stretch of the imagination, am I like a fan of like communism or socialism. I just know that whatever system is like at place right now needs to be it needs to be tweaked. It needs to be bettered in some sense, because this is where literally we went through the pandy. It was before that, it wasn't so bueno in terms of finances for most people. The pandy took a hit on a lot of people, and again, we're back to, oh, we're gonna go into a new normal. It's the same old, same old. We got different politicians, but the system is continuously doing its thing, and it wants us to be divided over stupid dumb shit. Left issues, right issues, gender politics, ethnicity, race. And at the end of the day, what gets you going is that mucho dinero. And I don't even know what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that, you know, we do need to be doing different things in order to see different results. And I don't have any answers, but I'll continue to do my little part, tickle your elbows behind the earlobes via the internets and on the streets, and hopefully sometime soon, because your boy's out there signing up for the, trying to sign up. I've signed up. I mean, put my name. I've sent emails for the old spots to do a couple of minutes here and there. So I'm out there. I'm doing my part. I hope you're doing your part as well. But shifting gears, moving on to other interesting stories. You might have seen a 19-foot python was just wrestled by a group of python hunters in Florida. 19 feet. And seemingly this seems like a big W for the python hunter community. You wrestled the python, you grabbed it, you wrangled it in. Seemed like everything was going well. I like, you know, overall, yes, big picture energy, yes, it's a good day. 19 feet, record breaking, biggest snake. But where I see missed opportunities, I like to point out and be like, hey man, there was potentially more juice to be squeezed out of this snake lemon. And all I'm saying is, what if you see the video, if you've gone back, and it's just happened very recently, like maybe a day or two ago, there's a part where this fella is grabbing the head of the snake and squeezing it, and the mouth of the snake opens up. And again, if I see missed opportunity, again, overall big pig, nobody got hurt, brought the snake in, big W. It's like, you know, but again, if I see missed opportunities, I can't sit here and be like, man, I wouldn't be able to sleep with, you know, the thoughts that go in my. So I'm just saying, once the snake had its mouth open, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've looked into the snake's mouth, or any snake's mouth really. It does resemble a giant vagina. And stats show that 1 in 7 men would like to stick their penis in a snake's mouth because it resembles a giant vagina. Now, I'm just looking around. It looked like at least 4 or 5 people were around. Couldn't you have found one individual who was eagerly waiting to stick his penis into the mouth of the old snake, right? Because when you grab the neck of the snake and it opens up and it looks like a giant vagina, I'm just letting you know, there are people out there, like, people gotta help themselves. How do you know there's gonna be like a snake hunt going on, dude? If I like, you know what I mean? Get the word out. We're hunting snakes out there at one point or another. I'm gonna be grabbing a snake's neck and it's gonna be like, say cheese. You know what I mean? Overall, yes, congratulations. Records are broken. pythons are wrangled. Everybody went home safe and sound. But I'm just saying, there is a person out there who's extremely sad for a missed opportunity of not getting the chance. God, it's so hard to know that it exists, but you're not. But I want to say that it's okay, fella. I'm there for you, and I know you're there for me too. We'll get through this together. There will be other giant snakes. You're like, no, there won't be. The last one was 17 or 18 feet long. How am I gonna stick my penis in a 19+ foot snake's mouth? And I say to that, keep on dreaming, dreamer. Keep on moving forward. Keep on shaving. Keep on pumping. Keep on. Stay prepared, because luck and preparedness, when they meet something, it's out there. There's more of them. There are more snakes. There will be more snakes. It just got to me a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it's relatable. On differently, you know, not so like directly. Like, I'm not one of those like 1 in 7 individuals myself. But stats are stats, and the facts speak for themselves. If you can't look at the stats and draw some conclusions, well, then damn, son. God. What else is going on in the world, man? I believe Zelensky was now recently denied entrance into the old NATO or something. And that's what happens, fam, when you go out there, you know, pandering, doing exactly what, you know, being that stereotype. And you're out there, you know, trying to Ukrainian bride yourself out there. Oh, I'm only here taking monies from one individual. I only love the United States. And all of a sudden, and all your boys are like, yo, Zelensky bitch is out there trying to get in everywhere. And you're like, no, he doesn't dance everywhere. He only dances for, he said he loves me. And all your boys are like, he a hoe, dude. He a straight up hoe. They're like, no, you don't. He can separate his work from home life. And all of a sudden, what's he trying to do, fam? Get in with other countries and also get monies from other. And at one point or another, everybody starts waking up like, hey, man, where are all these billions of dollars going? Weapons, you say. Wars, you say. No attempts from this guy or any other particular individual in those circles have been made to actually make peace and put an end to all that, and all the other wars that are always going on as well. It's not just Ukraine. There's so many of them that are going on. But that's what I'm saying, fam. Out there dancing, giving you, you know, oh, gave me a private dance the other night and said he's gonna be, as soon as he hits his target, he's gonna quit doing the work, and he loves me, man. Listen to your friends. Listen to your boys. Listen to your gals who are looking out for your best interests. Straight up hope. But having said that, we're all in it together. In different positions, different things in life. But that's what it is, man. I just want to say that I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful. It's been now roughly, I want to say it's been 2 weeks, boys and gals, that I've not been smoking the old weed. And it's actually, it's not nice. It's not nice. It's not, because I've smoked weed straight up for literally now since my dad passed away, and I started to like heavily like smoke and like smoke. I never used it because I actually, you know, people do different things. I never used it for like, oh, I'm gonna like block this thing out or like try to zone out. I actually like, I'm a thinker. I fucking get in my head and I think about things more. I'm like, what's the root cause of this thing? What's this? And I use it for funsies. It doesn't even, but that's the thing. Just putting it out there. I don't have any intentions of not smoking weed in the future might be, who knows, maybe next week I'll get high. Or maybe not. I don't know. But all I'm saying is it hasn't had any, I don't feel a damn thing. Like, I don't feel better or worse for, but that's just me. I'm not trying to like, all I'm saying is that, again, change is good. Change is good. It's good because I've literally consistently smoked weed for at least literally almost every day. Maybe in the past 10 or 11 years, maybe I've missed maybe a handful of days that I wasn't high. But my tolerance, I guess, is, I just like it. I like the ritual of it. I like rolling my own joints. But that's what I'm saying, man. It's been like 2 weeks almost that I haven't smoked weed and everything's fine. I could live with, like, if I were to go another day without, like, if I were to never smoke weed again in my life, I'd be completely okay with it, I think. Because it's like, I'm completely okay now, which is fine. But I do gotta say one thing, that there was one thing that I've enjoyed seeing is, like, yeah, sometimes when you do different things in life, you feel like, oh, if I were to stop doing a particular thing, could I do my other tasks? Could I go out there and get it? Could I, you know, it wasn't so big of a thought. It wasn't so much of a concern, but there was a little bit of in the back, because like ever since I started doing this whole wanting to go after stand-up, wanting to do podcasting, creating videos, there was always a little bit of a question in my, I'm like, oh man, am I gonna get the thoughts that I like to get? Am I gonna be able to, go out there and be as wild and, ooh, so, whatever. And it has apparently nothing to do with it, which is good, because yeah, it would suck if I was like dependent on it, but clearly not dependent. Having said that, the old cigarettes, now they've gone up because I've been smoking more cigs, I'll tell you that, just because I'm there right now. Ideally, I'd like to, if I could, in my ideal where I'd like to, at one point or another, start smoking weed again. But if I could stop smoking cigarettes, that would be super nice. And I love cigarettes. Fucking A. They know what they're doing. These fucking cigarette making companies know what. If you've not started in your life, please do not pick up a cigarette. But if you've picked up a cigarette and you've enjoyed a great smooth flavor of a cigarette in your life and you can't stop, I'm right there with you. So that is one thing that I'd like to hopefully maybe one day. I've been thinking about it, but these are the things that you come out of your little, one day you're showering in your regular shower, next thing you know, you're showering with a dick pump that doesn't belong to you. One day you start smoking weed, one day you stop, one day you've not even thought about stopping smoking cigarette, but one day it goes back in your head, maybe, hey, for health reasons, I should probably at one point or another. Having said that, god damn do I love cigarettes. And this is, please, again, if you've not picked up, and this is how they fucking get you. Let me just explain this. In the few early months of smoking cigarettes, you could smoke a cigarette. This is from personal experience. You could smoke a cigarette and you could put a cigarette down and go a week, 2 weeks, and just be like, I only smoke after drinks. When I'm getting lit with the fam, with the boys, with the gals, I'll only. But little by little, it seeps into your physiology, into your brain, and it just becomes an addiction. And honestly, if it came down to it, but that's the thing, I don't want to. It's one of those things right now. I don't have, it's one of those things that does give me a little bit of comfort. Call it a pacifier for grown men and women. Call it a mother's nipples, a father's cack, whatever you want to, or just call it a fucking cigarette, because there's so many other things. Everybody's got theirs. All I'm saying is, not been smoking weed for some time. The cigs are litty, and again, long-term investing in the old self. I'm fully aware of the health impacts, the old, like, yeah. So I'm gonna look into things. Maybe I could potentially start chewing some sort of like, you know, nicotine gum or something. Maybe I could get sponsored by a nicotine gum company that I'd gladly, you know, put on the old pod and be like, chew this gum. I've gotten 127% better after starting chewing. Look how great that commercial sounds. 127% increase in all aspects of my life ever since I started chewing so and so's gum, or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, oh, and look at all the flavors. They come in mint, cum flavored tobacco chewing gums, clam juice flavored tobacco nicotine chewing gums, vaginal fluid flavored chewing nicotine. I've not jerked off in now 2 weeks. I've not had sex in some time. So a lot is going on. I'm all good. And for realsies, all good, very grateful. But yeah, man, I just like to say that if you've not picked up this dirty habit, don't pick it up. But if you've picked it up and you're committed, because mama didn't raise no quitter either. You know, I'm out there doing my thing. You're out there doing your thing. We're never gonna stop. The only thing that'll stop this or anything else is literally nothing. Absolutely nothing, unless like some sort of like, but nothing. Because like whatever you put into the ether also has a greater chance of, so only good things will happen for you and me, and all the world will come together and just hug it out like the brothers and sisters that we are, like the second brothers and sisters, like distant cousins and relatives that we are. And aren't we all just the same, give or take a little bit, you know? A little bit more melanin here, a little bit less melanin there, a little bit, you know, shorter here, taller there, a little bit fucking, you know, someone's got a little bit more ADD, someone's got a little bit less ADD, someone's got a little fungi on their toenails, someone's got no fungi in their life. Somebody has to take fungi and put it in their mouth. All I'm saying is, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all your support. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. It will be dropped on Sunday. Once again, where can you find these videos? On Instagram, on YouTube, on patreon.com/robsadri if you'd like to fiscally support your show. And again, go back, start from the beginning if you like. You don't have to, obviously, because they're not so connected, but also it'd be nice for you to be like, oh, I want to binge watch this shit. If you like to binge watch shit, that is. Did I just tap in your mind right there? You're like, how does he know that I like to binge watch shit? Keeping it real. I love you all. Thank you for the love and support. I'll see you guys back here again on Sunday of next week. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, sending all the positive vibes, walking right there with you. Whatever you're going through, it'll get better. And if it's already going good, then fucking quit complaining already, dude. Lady. But also, it's nice to complain about shit too, I'll tell you that. So, you know, I'm not telling anybody to do whatevs. All I'm saying is, I'll see you guys and gals back here again next week. Peace out.